It is Friday, January 17th, 2020, and welcome to this episode of Code Evolution. I've been working on a project called Open.Serialization that has the intention to unify an API for serialization, primarily for JSON, across different libraries, and could be used for any library in a sense for serialization. And so what we have here on the screen is a chart by michaelscodingspot.com, and I want to say thank you, Michael, for your work here. This has been an inspiration for me to try to create this library. And as it says right at the bottom, it says UTF-8 is fastest by far. Now we're going to cover the three that we're covering are System Text JSON, or otherwise known as STJ, Newtonsoft, and UTF-8 JSON. Now Newtonsoft is the most commonly used in the .NET framework and has been for many years, and it also is generally the most user-friendly and flexible. It simply just works, and it's been fleshed out and basically it works exactly the way most people want it to work, but it isn't the most performant. So if you're really trying to squeeze out some more performance, you might want to consider a different library. Now in this case, when we see System Text JSON has a little bit better performance kind of across the board, but not anything dramatic. What you're not really seeing here, as this is just serializing the string in a sense of time, performance time, is the amount of memory usage, which System Text JSON is actually meant to be a much better memory performant or memory management for a library. But you can then see here that UTF-8 is blowing the doors off both of those. It's simply just super performant compared to the others, and its memory usage is actually quite good as well. So you might want to say, well, maybe I need to switch. The difference, the important part here is that they do have slightly different API. Their behavior is not true parity. They don't behave exactly the same. There is some nuances, so you have to be prepared for that. Switching from Newtonsoft to STJ, you can run into some hiccups that you weren't really expecting, and there's some issues on GitHub to review as well. In the meanwhile, what if you are getting ready to swap? What if you want to have an app, let's say like a web API app or some other application or whatever you're building that you want to be able to swap out through dependency injection in one of these libraries? You can't do that today because they don't follow a common interface. They all have their own interfaces and they all operate within their own realm of code. So to do that, we're going to demonstrate open serialization and how this works. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to initialize a web API app for demonstration purposes. So we're going to do .NET new web API, which is going to use the default template and create a controller that has like a weather forecast. So in this case, if you look at the controller and you see the weather forecast controller, basically it has a controller and then it has a default route called get. Okay. Well, we're going to supplant this get method for a get JSON method and demonstrate how this could be serialized to a string. And to do that, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and set it up, and we're going to copy this here down, and then we'll go ahead and take out the get. So this is the expected route. We're going to take this out so that there's only one route. And this one we're going to call get JSON. And then we're going to get a result. Oop, sorry. Okay, and for now we're just going to leave this blank. We'll just say string empty so we don't deal with any compilation errors or anything like that. And let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry. And then what I was going to do is change the return type to be a string. Okay. So now we have something that if we were to run this, it would just return an empty string. And so let's go ahead and do that, and just to kind of prove that everything's working and get it going. So .NET run. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the HTTPS version of this. And there we are. And there's really nothing in the response. So, but this is actually the root. So we're going to say /weather forecast. You need to double check that that's true, but I think it is. And if we look at the code here, we can see that, it's going to be weather forecast controller. And so there's nothing that's getting returned. Just to make sure, we'll actually do it again. Let's shut down this Oops. Shut down the app here. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and run it again. So this time we'll say, just to demonstrate that everything's working, we'll say OK. All right. And then we'll do, again, .NET run. Okay, and we're running. We're going to hit refresh, and there's our OK. So our app's ready to go, but we're going to do something a bit different. All right, so how do we fix this problem of serialization? What if we want to serialize this? What if we want to type serialize the result? Well, that would normally mean that we have to import Newtonsoft as a static reference or something that we were looking. But that just seems a little wrong in an era where dependency injection and version control are just the norm, right? So how do we do that? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import the serialization, Open.Serialization equivalent of Newtonsoft. So we just go .NET add package Open.Serialization.json.Newtonsoft. Now there are there's a .system and a .utf8 JSON that are available if you wanted to use one or the other. They all include references to the common interfaces that get used for this this purpose, and so you can import one or all of them, and they will all work in harmony. If you wanted to have a serializer that was Newtonsoft and you want to have a deserializer that was UTF-8, you could do that. But for now, we're just going to use Newtonsoft for the demonstration purposes. Looks like everything went well, and now we're going to go ahead and get out of here, and then we're going to import using Open.Serialization.json, and for the controller, that's all we need. We just need the interface, and so we'll go in here and put JSON serializer. Oops, sorry. Okay, and then we're going to say serializer, and then we're going to go ahead and add this. We're going to let VS Code add this as an instance or as a field. I'm going to rename it to be with an underscore to kind of follow the standard here. Oops, sorry. And we'll just kind of clean things up. And then we're going to come down here and just go serializer.result. All right, serializer result. There we go. Oh, sorry. Serializer result. Apologies. So yeah, so the serializer is just an interface. If we look at what that is, and there's a variety of different interfaces that are available, it basically has all the things that you need in order to serialize or deserialize anything. In this case, we really just wanted this particular method that's part of the interfaces. Now that the controller is already set up, well, how do we inject this? Well, it's really easy. You just come in here, and again, we're going to go ahead and using Open.Serialization.json, but this time we're going to have to pick one because we need it if we want to do this simply. And we're just going to services. We're adding to the service collection .add JSON serializer. And now we've told the startup to go ahead and inject a default serializer for anyone that wants to use that interface, and so it's already ready for DI. And let's go ahead and try it out. So we're going to sit here and we're going to do the .NET run. All right, and then we're going to go back to our page here and we're going to hit refresh. And there it is. So that was pretty easy. Now, what you might be asking, well, that was cool, but maybe you're not feeling it. Why there could be some more uses for you. Well, you have to remember now, if I want to change, so let's say that the weather forecast controller is one of many that use a serializer, and you want to be able to swap them out in one, basically just in one file, and not have to go into all of the different places where Newtonsoft has a using, and then you have to change the syntax and maybe change how the methods that you're using, which is a pain, right? Well, now all you have to do is come in here and say, well, I'm actually going to go ahead and add alongside this. It's totally valid. I'm going to add system. Okay, so now both Newtonsoft and system are installed. That's fine. We can now cherry pick which one we want to use. In this case, we're going to go system. And that was it. Because there's already an extension that's specific for a system. We need to go ahead and, let me do this here. I think we're good to go. We're going to do a .NET run. Okay, now we're back in business again. And here we go, we're going to hit refresh. Now you can see there was a subtle difference in the data, but that was because it's a new time and date, right? But it did the exact same thing, and we didn't have to change very much. So that was really what I wanted to demonstrate today. I wanted people to be aware that there is this library available for them to use. It is like we could review it, but primarily the Open.Serialization library is just interfaces. It does have a lot of and then again, after the interfaces are implemented, there's serialization that isn't specific to JSON, which you can use. If you had some specific serializer, maybe you just had something that converted integers, or I don't know. That's also an option here. And then there's specific ones for JSON that's just there to make dependency injection easy. And then lastly, you can cherry pick whatever serialization library you want to use. Do you want to use Newtonsoft? Do you want to use UTF-8? Do you want to use STJ? It's all there readily available for you. So I hope that helps anyone. Again, I'm really proud of this project. I think it makes a big difference for the people using it. It doesn't box you into having to pick one or the other. You can swap at any time or use all at the same time if you wanted to. So yeah, that's this Friday's video, and happy coding.